do an Italian language presentation first. Dr. Florence Russo from St. John's University. Let's welcome her.
Buonasera, grazie. Thank you for inviting me. It's an absolute honor to be here and to share the Italian language and culture that I'm so proud to call my own. This Italian Cultural Heritage Month that began in October celebrates the joys of teaching Italian. There are many joys, molte gioie e molti dolori, many joys and many sorrows, but that's part of the job. So my professional career, whether at the consulate or at my teaching career at St. John's and other institutions, I've really made my, as the Indians say, my dharma, my life mission, to promote the Italian language and culture. So in this very short time, and I promise it will not be long, I'm happy to share a little PowerPoint that I put together for my students and the other students who come to do a short-term study abroad program in Rome, which is called Global Passport. Freshmen get to visit Rome after studying Italian 1. So before everyone goes abroad for whatever reason, short or long-term program, we do a little bit of an intro to survival Italian. Chi parla italiano? Who speaks Italian? Or un dialetto, a dialect? Benissimo. Okay, so you can participate. My students are back there. They'll be participating as well. They're manning one of the booths that we have. But andiamo a Roma. Andiamo sì o no? You want to go? Sì, andiamo. So here we have it. Benvenuti a Roma. Some of these are actual pictures of what we see when we land in Rome. We have a campus right in a very lovely region of the city of Rome, which is called the Prati district. Okay, so benvenuti means what? Anybody? Welcome. Ripetiamo, benvenuti. Benissimo. So one of my strategies, what I call the joys of learning and teaching Italian, is to do it in mini sessions. And tonight we have a mini session par excellence. I do it through an introductory little thing that I start with students to get their attention, which is la parola o l'espressione del giorno. Voi capite? You understand? Ah, bene, noi ci conosciamo. I'm seeing so many faces. The expression of the day. And so that introduces a theme, okay? So, una parola al giorno, and I introduce the students in Rome with one trigger expression, one trigger word of the day that then introduces a certain theme. Quindi andiamo avanti. So imagine it's day 1. Allora, there's a little flag blocking. Oh, you can see it more complete there. Cosa significa allora? Anybody? E allora? Yes, and so, yeah, it's fill in. Ripetiamo allora. Allora facciamo I conti. Anytime you see iamo in Italian, it means us, right? Andiamo, right? Impariamo l'italiano. So ora facciamo I conti. Let's do some counting of these 8 days with 8 new expressions, 8 new themes. Ci sono 8 giorni, 8 parole, 8 expressions e 8 espressioni. Incominciamo, cosa significa? What do you think that means? Shall we start? Ecco. So now if you want to just say sì, but if you want to be really emphatic, ma sì, ripetiamo, let's repeat. Ma sì, okay. And here's an actual photo. I don't know if you can see. This is a famous building on the left. Anybody know what building that is in Rome? It's the Palazzo di Giustizia on the left, what the Romans call the Palazzaccio. They don't enjoy the architecture of that particular building. But it divides the Tevere. You're going towards the Tiber River to Trastevere, and as my chaperone from 2 years ago, along with my students walking. E allora andiamo, let's go, ripetiamo, andiamo. Amonini, yes, is Sicilian, bravo. You can see how different the dialects are, right, than Italian, the standard that we learn in school. Okay, do you know where we are here? This is another close by building, right where we were, close to the Vatican. Anybody know what building this is in Rome? Castel? Anybody an opera fan? Where Tosca commits suicide, she jumps off the building at the end of the opera. That's where she does it. Castel Sant'Angelo. And there's the statue of Saint Michael the Archangel on top of that building. Quindi, so let's pretend il primo giorno, how do you say, welcome upon arrival? Benvenuti is just welcome in general. But when you arrive to a place, you say, now we have just two genders in Italian. Ben arrivato, ripetiamo, ben arrivato. Ben arrivata. How would I say to everyone? Ben arrivati, just like we did with benvenuti. So if you want to start, introducing yourself, we get into the saluti. And in Italy, this is what? You do, right. This is ciao, right? So the first thing, if you want to, we say presentarsi, to introduce yourself, is piacere. Ripetiamo, piacere. Mi chiamo... Ecco, brava. E poi di dove sei? Where are you from, signora? Di dove è lei? Sono di Queens. Benissimo, benissimo. So sono, anytime a verb ends in O, it means io, right? When it's chiamo, it's us. So you start to get a little bit of the feeling for some of the inflections of the language, and this goes for the present across the board, whether the verb is regular or irregular. Quindi sono di Milano, sono di New York, andiamo avanti. So that would be your first day salutations. Now, why do I have the division there with the flag? Anybody? Formale, informale, what is that about? You have how many ways to say you? One. You know how many ways we have? 4. Everything is complicated with us, right? So this is only the singular because I can be on a first name basis. Like I prefer to use the to form with my students. I switch back and forth so they get more used to, both. Because when you're a younger person and you meet an elder, you use this polite or formal singular, which is the lay form. So you see that those let's say salutations are not interchangeable. That is, if I'm saying with my student Caleb, ciao Caleb, come stai, come va, salve, and he comes back to me, how is he going to greet me? The joy of being older is that you can choose the tonality. Today you can be formal, tomorrow you can be informal, even with the same person. But the younger person is obliged to go back to you with the polite form. Do you like that? Bello? Sì? Okay, una forma di rispetto. So it's the lay form. Notice, those salutations on the left, the informal ones, they are not interchangeable. Sometimes we have gray areas, but there's not enough time for me to explain that. But this is only in the singular. So let's do some practice. Ripetiamo, buongiorno. E ora che cosa diciamo? Now what would we say? Buonasera, bene. Ripetiamo, buonasera. E più tardi, at the end of the encounter here, later, to say goodbye only is buonanotte. Ripetiamo, buonanotte. If you walk into a room and say buonanotte, you have to leave because it's only a goodbye. All the others, they are hellos or goodbyes, except for arrivederci and arrivederla. Okay? So those are the singulars, right? How many of you knew the distinction? If you speak a dialect, the easy way out was everything was either in Sicilian vosia, right, which is immediately a form of respect. It means your lordship, vostra signoria, or in Neapolitan, Napoletani, sì, bene, my people. Vui, no? That was the solution for respect, right? Okay, so andiamo avanti. Okay, so this is actually, does anybody know what facade this is? This is the Rome campus at St. John's. Yeah. So it's via Marcantonio Colonna. It's right near Via Colla di Rienzo, if anybody knows Rome. It's a beautiful area. It's close to the Vatican. So we have some espressioni. Now, here's an easy way out. I'm always trying to, let's call it, give you a middle of the road expression that can get you by, because even my students, should I use the lei form? Should I use the tu form? What about just simply come va? That's less direct. Anybody know the difference between come stai, come sta would be the lei form, and come va, which really is just how is it going, okay? So it's acceptable. It's a little bit, a notch down from come sta, that's for sure, but it's not offensive. The offensive would be to use the tu form when you're not invited. Does anybody know how to be invited in? Somebody has to invite you into their space, because this is a psychological drama too. It's everything, sociological, psychological. You create a space when you are formal with someone, right? And when, on the other end, you want to be informal with them, you're inviting them in. So anybody know how to do that? that lends itself to a lot of different interpretations. If I said that in class, they would take me away. Dammi del tu. Ever hear that one? Dammi del tu. Use the tu form with me. Ripetiamo, dammi del tu. Okay? Now, sometimes people accept. Sometimes I don't accept. Like, I have a few people that I have extreme reverence for, and I never do that. I never use the tu form. These things have to be measured and played out within the day, right? And within the relationship. So you have a whole bunch of things. I'm not going to go through all the different answers for come va, but let me tell you, what is the most Mediterranean one? Molto bene, non c'è male, così così, o male? Which do you think is the most Mediterranean? Do you shoot high? In this country you do. Everybody, benissimo, molto bene, sì, va bene. But in Italy, we kind of think something bad is going to happen, right? So we go in the middle. Così, non c'è male, così così, va bene, sì, sì. Okay? So those are some of the answers to come va or come stai. This is Rome in May. Do you know what flowering bush that is? Gelsomino. You know what flower? The jasmine. And it's just so fantastic. That's actually right in front of a restaurant that used to be frequented by Pope Benedict XVI. In Borgo Pio, which is one of the Rome suburbs. So maybe on the third day you get over your jet lag. Now you want to eat. Si vuole mangiare. Chi sono I mangioni? Who are the eaters? Okay, me too. Anch'io. So you want to know where things are. So if you want to say where is, first of all, how do you say excuse me on the street? Scusi is the polite way. Ripetiamo, scusi. Dov'è? Dov'è un ristorante o dove c'è, where is it to be found, okay? You know what that, under the dove c'è, what sign that is? No, what the sign is gelateria. Yeah, That's after, and then the place where there is the lamp is where that restaurant is. That makes very good trippa, tripe. See? Okay, this is chock full. This is just to give you an idea of how Italian cities look, right? They're very circular. The Romans made the outlay or the layout of the cities in circular form with the piazza in the middle, right? And all the main streets trajectory toward the main piazza. So let's do a few things. Let's just ask for one thing, okay? If you want to say, excuse me, a piece of information, you know how to say excuse me, and it's right there in the polite way, because we don't know whom we're speaking to on the street. At our age, we're all elders, right? You be polite, right? In doubt, unless you're talking to a younger person. Quindi ripetiamo, scusi, un'informazione. Okay? Now you could say per cortesia, per favore, eccetera. Dove c'è, let's say, how do you say pharmacy? It's right there on the right. Una farmacia. Bene. And what if you want to say, is it close? What is the place, what is the expression? Bene, like vicinity. Ripetiamo, è vicino o lontano? Okay, that was an important question because 2 years ago we had to test 150 students before coming back to New York. Can you imagine? I was saying many prayers at that time, the night before. And so then you also have I gave you the St. John's address, and then some indications. In Italy, no matter where you're going, everybody says, sempre diritto. What does that mean? Straight ahead, keep going straight. And then a sinistra, bene. E poi come si dice to the right? A destra, bene. And then to end the thing, to end the conversation, grazie, and then prego, prego. No, ciao only if you know the person, right? But prego has a lot of meanings. Besides you're welcome, anybody know what it can mean? If I say, let's say Julie wants to come up, maybe with a hook to get me off the stage, but if she wants to come up and I say, prego, Julie, prego. Yes, please, make yourself, right? Come. Okay, so if you want to invite someone in. Then if I say, prego, but a nice way of what? I beg you. That's what prego means. So let's repeat. Ripetiamo, prego. Benissimo. Okay, andiamo avanti. Ahead. Oh, this is another. I love flowers. Do you know what? This is still in May in Rome 2 years ago. Anybody know what this special floral bush is? Bougainvillea. Yeah. I don't find it much. I have one in front of my house, but I'll be taking it in for the winter, but it's very common from Rome all the way to the south. But even in Liguria, you can find in places where the climate is such that it can thrive. Okay, so what about the fourth day, quarto giorno? How do you wish someone a good cena? Buona cena or buon appetito? Everybody says in this country, buon appetit. Lo diciamo in italiano noi, no? Let's do it in Italian. Buon appetito. E allora, what do you think ordiniamo then means? If iamo is us, ordiniamo allora? What is that? Yeah, let's order. Shall we order then? Okay, so that's a typical trattoria. You have some words. Now notice antipasto. I have a little, my father used to correct the menus in New York restaurants. They really didn't appreciate that. They used to take the time to do it because he used to find antipasta. Why is that wrong? Antipasto, antipasta being wrong. Anybody? Prego. Bravo, because pasto is the meal. So what you have before the meal is the antipasto. Okay, pasta is anything doughy. Pasta itself, it could be dough or it could be a pastry if you're at a cafe. Bene, all right. So I'm not going to torture you with the. Do you know the 4 Roman pastas that are mentioned there? Anybody know one of the pastas of Rome? The famous 4? Oh, Rosie. Tu sai dire le paste cacio e pepe, carbonara, prego, la gricia che è la mia preferita, la matriciana. Do you know these sauces? Most of them with pork, with guanciale, a lot of them. Okay? This is another Roman pastry that you can have at a Roman coffee bar. Does anybody know what this is? You know who's the only person that put this on TV that I know of? Have you seen it on television at all? Stanley Tucci. Did you see the one in Rome? He has it with the actress. Oh, I love him. Next time you tell him I said hi. Okay. So this is a typical Roman pastry with panna in the middle. Who could go for that? Maritozzo. So some little bar things. Do you know how to order an Italian bar? Coffee bar? What do you do first? Think. Come? That's a good golden rule for anything. Yes, you pay first, then they're given the receipt, lo scontrino, then you go to the barista. And usually he tears it because we don't trust each other in Italy. Everybody, you had yours. In other words, no double dipping, as they say. So, okay. Any questions about bar? Anything you want to know? That's there. Se no andiamo avanti. We can go to the next one. Oh, who are the shoppers? La spesa, lo shopping, ecco. Bene. So, an important question is, what is the distinction with quanto, with a T, and quando, with a D? Anybody? Bravo. Quando with a D is when. Bravo. And quanto or quante is how much. Okay? Sì. Benissimo. So, I don't know how many of you do a lot of shopping, but, there's a lot of bargaining that can go on. So when you go there, this is actually an alum from St. John's University. Maybe Rosie remembers him. Where is Rosie? Ecco, facciamo un giro. Do you know what area this is? Another picture just live from Rome 2 years ago when I was walking around with my students. This is Trastevere, where we were in the first slide when I showed you the students passing the Palazzaccio. You cross the Tiber and you get to the really hipster part of Rome. Okay, mi scusi, non parlo bene l'italiano. You can admit this. People like to help you, right? Dove si trova? Mi sono perso, persa. These are some very important expressions, but I don't want to overdo my stay. Maybe we can just go. I'll say one thing. Partiamo. What is that? Sì, arrivederci. We're leaving, so let's go to the... Okay. You know what I love about Italy? On a Sunday, people still say Buona Domenica. Isn't that a great expression? Happy Sunday. And then a lot of people watching. This is another just candid photo that I took of someone in Rome, people watching. How many of you know who Anthony Bourdain was? Because he's no longer living. This is a wonderful thing. When I tell my students, you can see the Trevi Fountain in the back. Andiamo tutti a Roma. Let's all go to Rome. Che figo. Could we just go back? Where he says, travel changes you. As you move through this life and this world, you change things slightly and you leave marks behind. And in return, life and your traveling leaves marks on you. So I always see my students changing when they come back from Rome for the better. So I invite you to visit this lovely country. Viva l'Italia. Thank you for listening.
Welcome to our first ever Italian Heritage Month celebration at the Town of North Hempstead. Good evening, everyone. I am Marianne Del Monte. I am the council member representing District 6 in the Town of North Hempstead. I am so happy to join with all of you tonight in celebration of Italian Heritage Month. I'd like to call up Maria Cavallero from the John Michael Marino Lodge to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
So hand over your heart, everyone. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. I'd like to call up Olivia Duffy and Maria Arce from the Cellini Lodge to perform our national anthem.
We will be doing the Italian national anthem first. Fratelli d'Italia, l'Italia se desta, dell'emmo di Scipio se cinta la testa, dove la vittoria le porga la chioma che schiava di Roma, il Dio la creò. Fratelli d'Italia, l'Italia se desta, dell'emmo di Scipio si cinta la testa, dove la vittoria le porga la chioma, che scava di Roma, il Dio la creò. Son giunti a cohorte, son pronte alla morte, son pronte alla morte, Italia chiamò. Son giunti a cohorte, son pronte alla morte, son pronte alla morte, Italia chiamò. Sì.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of our free and the home of our brave?
Please remain standing. I would like to take a moment to condemn the horrific terrorist attacks in Israel, to extend my condolences to all the victims and their families. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. I would also like to recognize my colleagues from the town board who are with me here this evening. Councilman Peter Zuckerman, Town Clerk Ragini, I'm going to say her name wrong, I always do, Srivastava. Did I do it? Italian Heritage Month is an important, there's no other electeds, correct? Okay. Italian Heritage Month is an important reminder to us that America is a diverse nation, that our diversity is a source of strength and inspiration, and that America remains a beacon of hope for so many people around the world. Today, and throughout Italian Heritage Month, we celebrate the stories of Italian immigrants and their descendants' contributions to the richness, vibrance, and spirit of America. A local example of an Italian immigrant making a lasting impact on America relates to Port Washington's history of sand mining. Generoso Pope was born in Italy in 1891 and arrived in New York City at the age of 15. At just 20 years of age, he joined the Colonial Sand and Stone Company. A few years later, the company was in serious financial trouble, and he convinced the owners and the creditors to give him a chance to restore the business. He not only managed to save the company, but grew it to become the largest sand and gravel business in New York, which provided concrete for much of the New York City skyline, including Rockefeller Center, Radio City Music Hall, airports, subways, and more. I felt that stories like Generoso's and so many others needed to be told. So last year, I approached the town's Commissioner of Community Services and asked for an Italian Heritage Month to be added to our yearly events here at the Town of North Hempstead. We need to celebrate our heritage. But I have to say, none of this would have been possible if it weren't for the passion and dedication of a few communities, great Italian American women. So I would like, please join me in thanking Colleen Ferreira. Colleen, please stand. Please stand. Mary Modica. Did I say it right? From the Cellini Lodge. Lisa Bloninsky and Maria Cavallero from the John Michael Marino Lodge for their spectacular vision. I'd also like to thank Kimberly Cochran-Galante, Julie Chin, and the staff from the town's Community Service Department who helped put this all together. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce another outstanding Italian American who will be presenting the awards to our honorees. This gentleman is Vice President of St. John's University, President of the Sons of Italy Foundation, President and Chair of the Italian Heritage and Culture Committee of New York, and a member of dozens, and when I say dozens, of other charitable and community organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for our magnificent MC, Joe Shiani. Yes, he deserves a standing ovation, this man.
Okay, so we have a script here. I'm going to use it, but I'm going to tell you why I'm here. I'm here because of this sign, the books that you've got, and the little bookmarks. I am the chairman of the Italian Heritage Culture Committee of New York in its 47th year, and I'm happy and proud to say that the town that I live in, New Hyde Park, for the first time since I think my family moved here in 1955, there has never been an Italian night in this town. So this is really incredible that Marianne was able to pull this off. We know that there are two lodges of the Sons of Italy, actually three there were, in the town of North Hempstead. So please, if you are not a member, you should be joining. And you should be joining because what we want as Italian Americans is just a little piece of the pie. And we know that there are 18 million Italian Americans in the United States of America who trace their roots back to the country, where there are 55 million people living in Italy, but there are 60 million people living in the world who can trace their roots to Italy. So that's phenomenal. There are so many people. So this year, the joys of learning Italian was the theme that the committee selected. It was a very difficult theme. If you take a look at this poster, it's very, very involved, but it's a great teaching tool. And I want to thank and commend my colleague from St. John's, Fiorentina Florence Russo. What she did for you before is very difficult to be able to teach a class or something with this many people. It's almost impossible. And obviously there was interference, good interference from the food and the partying and the talk. So to Florence Russo, where are you? There you are, seated right here. She has been honored at other events in other boroughs, such as in Queens. And in fact, I would point out tonight to you that at 3 o'clock today, I was in the Bronx Zoo. Why was I in the Bronx Zoo and the former Lion's Den? The former Lion's Den is the room where the Bronx Borough president, an African-American woman, Vanessa Brown, is hosting right now, where Mr. Sciammi is supposed to be, giving her a proclamation and all the rest of the stuff. But I opted to come here. So I went up there, I brought the lovely poster, I brought them the books, the box, and they're all happy. And they have a room set up just like this with 150 people. However, we know in the Bronx, there's been a lot of mobility. So half of the audience are going to be not Italian Americans. But I have to tell you, they ate the best food in the Bronx. It's absolutely incredible. But I opted to be here because the pride that I feel in our town. I'm a parishioner at Notre Dame. I probably have seen you. I'm a lector there, very involved. But most of all, my contribution to the town is that I am the chairman of the Board of Ethics. So that means that my responsibility in the committee here in the community is very, very serious. And I've been doing that for 47 years. So tonight is a really special night for me to honor you. By me being here, I'm honoring you. I'm respecting what you're doing because this is incredible. In each of the boroughs, you don't even know it because maybe you don't get the news about it, but there's a ceremony like tonight. In Brooklyn, the Federation will do this in Bensonhurst. In Manhattan, the City Council usually does the same thing. Staten Island, the borough president had an event over the weekend. And then, of course, in the Bronx, I said, we're doing it tonight. So take a look at that magazine. If there are not enough magazines, which I know there are not, in back of the bookmark, there's a website. And you can draw down the electronic copy and see all the events that are going on this month. So now, without any further ado, we're going to announce different honorees. And the first one is Annette Ostrich, is being honored by Councilwoman Marianne Delamonte. And she's going to come up here and stand with Marianne. And now we're going to learn a little bit about her, okay? Annette was born and raised in Port Washington. She has spent her entire life in Port Washington, and her love of the community has been reflected in her passionate engagement with local issues on various subjects. She is an active member of the Property Owners Association of Harbor Acres Board of Directors and has been its treasurer for over 25 years. In addition, she served for several years on the Residents Club Commission of the Village Club of Sands Point, and she was a founding member of the Astor Lane Residents Association. She also is a board member of the Residents for a More Beautiful Port Washington. She is an active board member of the Port Washington Business Improvement District and has been a member of the John Michael Marino Lodge Sons of Italy Port Washington for over 50 years. Annette has a daughter, Anita, a son-in-law, Jeff, and two grandsons, Jeffrey and Robert. Annette has been honored by Residents Forward, Pride in Port, Port Washington Public Library Foundation, and inducted into the Town of North Hempstead's May W. Newberger Women's Roll of Honor. Annette feels that Port Washington was a great place to grow up and wants to help keep it that way. She consistently supports many local organizations to give back to the Port Washington community, which has been a better part of her life. Let's give now a round of applause to our honoree, Annette Ostrand.
We gotta take pictures.
Good evening. I don't want to, I'll just keep it short. I'm very honored to receive this award, and I'm very humbled by it. I want to acknowledge the Town of North Hempstead's Town Board, our councilwoman, Mary Ann Del Monte, the John Marcarino Lodge, the Cellini Lodge, for hosting this wonderful event this evening in celebrating our rich Italian culture and heritage, and also our citizens of Italian ancestry who have done so much to contribute to our community as a whole. Thank you all.
Okay, the next honoree is the Honorable Richard Nicolello, is being honored by Supervisor Jennifer DeSena, but is not here yet, okay? Our next honoree is Frank Venezia of Venezia's Garden, is being honored by Councilman Dennis Walsh. Frank Venezia obviously has a beautiful name after one of the more famous places in Italy. Frank Venezia and his wife have been big supporters of the Mineola community for over 30 years. They have helped thousands of customers create beautiful outdoor spaces in their homes, from basic garden supplies to intricate landscape designs. When you work with the Venezias, you can trust that your project is in the hands of a reliable family who is devoted to providing the highest quality products and services at competitive prices. The Venezia's commitment to excellence on every job has earned them a reputation as Long Island's most trusted source for transforming outdoor spaces. Frank also helps with the botanical garden flowers, and his wife volunteers in the planting and cleanups. Congratulations to Frank and his lovely wife.
But first of all, I'd like to thank the town for helping us, for even giving us this opportunity to be here. I'd like to tell you a quick story, and I might need Dr. Russo's help with this. My name is Frank Venezia. As you can tell, it's a very Italian name. My grandfather I lived with, I guess when I was about 13. I cannot speak more than 2 words of Italian. However, I met my bride when she was, I guess she was like 14, 15, like that. We started going out. She lived with her grandparents, and she speaks fluent Italian. So, again, Dr. Russo, maybe you can help me with this. Being the name Frank in Italian, the nickname is Cheech. Is that right? Okay. Well, my grandfather, since he spoke broken English, but he spoke Italian, used to I thought he was being affectionate with me. Instead of calling me Cheech, he used to call me Chooch. Dr. Russo, maybe I don't need your help, but I think everybody knows what Chooch is, right? Anyway, when I met this woman who, she actually explained to me, I said, I think my grandfather's trying to be affectionate, he calls me Chooch. She says, I don't think that's what he means. So, but anyway, I just want to say thank you so much, and I'm very honored, and thank you to all you, councilmen here and Councilman Walsh, who's not here, but I thank you, and I'm extremely honored to accept this award. Thank you.
Frank's story, by the way, can be replicated in America over and over again. And part of it has to do with the fact that when our grandparents actually, when they came from Italy, most of them massive immigration at the turn of the last century. But more so than that, in the 1950s or so, there was another big influx of Italians. And when they came here, many of them came from towns where they struggled, where they lived in many what they call comunes, almost in a feudal type system. And as a result, they really came to America for democracy. And recently at the Consul General of Italy's office, he ran a program and he asked me to speak about and several speakers had to speak about what your grandparents may have brought to America and what did they learn from America. So mostly what our grandparents learned was really about democracy, because many of them grew up in a situation where there was the era of Garibaldi back in 1870. And as a result, once that period was over time, it was a struggle for them. And many of them immigrated throughout the world, not all to the United States. They went to Argentina, to Brazil, Uruguay. They went to Australia and to many other places. So they didn't all come to America. But the one thing that they did, they respected democracy. And in doing that, they gave their sons, especially in World War I and World War II. And not only that, but they had high respect for America. It didn't matter that they came from Italy. It was America first. As a result, the language was English. And so as a result, myself, wonderful grandparents, 4 of them from Sicily, but they encouraged speaking English. Today, our children have great benefits. They can study abroad during high school sometimes, and definitely in college. And that would be the thing to do. And we recommend it. In Italy, in fact, starting Monday, is Italian Language Week at all the consulates in America and across the board. So that's something really to remember and be proud about. So the language is not really lost. In point of fact, right now, the Italian American Committee on Education, IACE, in New York City, Park Avenue, they have the highest number of registrants of young people studying Italian. It's a very popular language. You don't have to hear it otherwise from other people. And thank you very much for allowing me to share that piece of information because it's important. The next gentleman we have here is somebody very important to all of us because he's the presiding legislator for the Nassau County legislators. A member of the Cellini Lodge, I can tell you that annually he has an event usually on a Monday where we come and present him with a poster and he acknowledges Italian Heritage and Culture Month. So let's welcome now the Honorable Richard Nicolello, who's being honored by Supervisor Jennifer DeSanta. We get to have you up here on stage. Okay, Richard Nicolello is the presiding officer of the Nassau County Legislature. He serves as the chair of the legislature's Rules Committee and is the vice chair of the Budget Review Committee. And that's for all Nassau County. Rich is an original member of the Nassau County Legislature, having represented the 9th Legislative District since 1996. He graduated from New Hyde Park Memorial High School. Let's hear it for New Hyde Park Memorial High School. And he received his Bachelor of Arts degree in Government and Politics, magna cum laude, from St. John's University. He received his Juris Doctor in Law from the Fordham Law School. And you can applaud Fordham as well. He's a member of the Alumni Associations of Fordham Law School and St. John's University. Presiding officer Rich Nicolello and his wife Susan have 2 children, Kathleen and Patrick, and Rich is a lifelong resident of New Hyde Park. Congratulations, Richard Nicolello.
Thank you very much. And, you know, the man of the year every year for Italian Heritage Month is Joe Sciamma. just been an incredible advocate and representative of our heritage. I've served for 28 years in the legislature. That term is coming to an end. I was deputy presiding officer for 5, presiding officer for the last 6. So after all those years, you can only hope that you've represented yourself well, but more importantly, that as an Italian American, you've represented the heritage well. And for me, that I represented Cellini Lodges as well as a member. Thank you. My path to the legislature was not as difficult as some earlier Italian Americans who ran for office. I guess the earliest one in Nassau County was Frank Gallotta, who was elected as district attorney at a time when there was rampant anti-Italian prejudice. Became district attorney, became a Supreme Court judge. There were others after that, but they are the ones that had the difficult time. So all of us, there's many of us in service now, Italian Americans in government, all of us, though, are there because of the path that they blazed. And in terms of paths, I want to actually talk about my father for a moment. Grew up in East New York. I guess he had 5 or 6 sisters. He limited education and unfortunately contracted tuberculosis when he was younger, had a couple of years in the hospital and then recovered. But he worked his entire life to provide for my mom and my 3 brothers and myself. At Con Edison, working midnights, working different shifts, putting the overtime in, and he really built our lives, our family's lives. So the fact that I was able to go on to college and law school and now become a legislator, all of that was made possible by his work. So when we look at the Man of the Year, the Woman of the Year of Italian Heritage Month, it really isn't those of us who have these titles. It is your average hardworking man and woman of Italian heritage who over the last century and a half has created, everything that we have in this country. So those are the path breakers, and those, my father and those that came before me, are the real honorees. So thank you very much, and again, I'm proud to be here.
Beautifully said. Our next honoree is Salvatore Di Meo of Trattoria Di Meo, who's being honored by Councilman Peter Zuckerman. In 1969, 3 brothers embarked on a remarkable journey to New York, and with a dream to capture the essence of Naples, Italy, and bring it to Long Island community. With deep pride in their Southern Italian roots, they infused their passion for preparing authentic Italian cuisine with a modern local twist. Today, owner Salvatore Di Meo proudly carries on his family's legacy of delivering the finest traditional Neapolitan fare. Together with his talented culinary team, they've continued to uphold the highest standards of quality and authenticity for nearly 54 years. As we approach December, Trattoria Di Meo is gearing up to celebrate this incredible milestone, marking 54 years of service in the Town of North Hempstead community. They were recently honored with the prestigious Open Table Diners' Choice Award for one of the best Italian restaurants on Long Island in 2023. So this weekend, where are you going? The Trattoria Di Meo.
Tell us to come make reservations.
Well, wow, to stand up here in front of all these amazing honorees is a privilege. It's amazing, so thank you for this. Thank you so much, and members of the Town of North Hempstead, thank you. What can I say? This year is for my dad and his 2 brothers who came to this country and lived the American dream. I too was born in Italy, and I came as a child, and I've always liked working with my family. And Two things I could tell you that my family's always taught me. One, work hard to be successful. You always have to work hard. Second thing to being successful is love your family. Take care of them, be with them, and cherish them. Do everything for your family because that's the secret to your success. Those are the two things I've always taught. So, and my family, my two boys and my beautiful wife, thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your understanding of my hard work and the sacrifices made. And to everybody here, thank you, and hope to serve many more meals for many more years. Thank you very much.
Well, that was pretty terrific because that's really symbolic of what we're about, the family, the glue that kind of keeps us together in our society. So congratulations again to the DeMayo family. Our next honoree is the Honorable Anthony Durso. Anthony? I suspect that many people do know this gentleman because for several years he served as our local assemblyman, doing an incredible job. I don't have the actual full curriculum vitae on Anthony Durso, but I will say besides what I will read to you, this is somebody who really has fulfilled the American dream. Somebody born in Italy, someone who came here, who endured, unfortunately, some of what is going on in the world today, but in Italy, at which time there was much pressure by the Nazis when they infiltrated Italy. And Anthony had to go into hiding with the family. And he can go on to give that lecture far better than I or any of us here. But he withstood that, came to America, educated, bachelor's, master's degree, worked for the city of New York, retired, and then decides he wants to be a public servant. And the highest thing that one can do is to serve the community. And then to be elected, not only locally as a councilman, but to be elected to the state of New York. Can you imagine his parents looking down on him and saying in amazement what he has accomplished? Not only that, married to Maria, father of 4, and grandchildren galore. So now the script says, the Honorable Anthony Durso is being honored by Councilwoman Veronica Lurvy. Anthony has always done so much for the community, from working with organizations from an early age. He served as a councilman for 4 terms and later became assemblyman for the 16th district from 2017 to 20. In 2019, Pope Francis invited the Dursos to Rome and honored him for his family's efforts hiding his Jewish friends from the Nazis during the Holocaust. Tony and his wife Maria have 4 children and 6 grandchildren. As I said, I only wish I had his full resume here to read to you about the achievements that he has made in life. This is somebody who came from Italy with nothing, like many of our grandparents, but how he somehow negotiated his way to the top, to public office. It's absolutely incredible. So I think we owe him a standing ovation for what he's done, and welcome him tonight. And we have now been joined by our town supervisor, Jennifer Bissell. Before he speaks, we have the citation to present to him. Nope, there. Jen.
I think that he just shot me, has told many things that are true, that I caused to generate those times when my foresight, my anxiety to become a better person for everything I have done and to provide services to people here and over the world. I'm enjoying living the American dream. I remember when we got liberated from the American soldiers in Italy, 1944. I was 5 years old. And I went like this to a German soldier before we got liberated, and I went like this to get something to eat, and he gave me a smack. I said, "Motherfucker," okay? But when the American came, they stopped by the hut over the mountain, and he took me from my mother's, side, and he started to cry. He said, "I had a boy his age when I left to go to war, and I don't have many news lately, and I hope that everything is okay." Couldn't get the mail over the mountain. They were running all over the place, the soldiers. But anyway, I came here because, another reason, I want to get an education. And my father, a small farmer, he said, "I can afford that." Mandated by the state of Italy that children should have at least 5 years of education free. And I felt that wasn't enough for me. So I did the 5 years, and then I said to my father, "I want to go to scuola media." He said, "I can afford it. You got to go with me and work on a farm." I says, "Papa, I do this now. But when I become of age and I'm ending, I'm going to leave you and your beautiful Italy." And I never went back. I have an apartment over there. I love America. So anyway, I went to school after work for 16 years. 16 years. Learned English, got a high school diploma, got an associated degree, got a Bachelor of Science, and a Master of Science from Pratt School of Architecture, only in America, all right? And but at the time, I was still working in construction, building, we don't call skyscrapers. Up to 58 stories, we call high risers. Actually, like a cat goes on and put the pieces together. I did that for a few years, but always to school at night after work for 16 years. And I got all my credentials. Then I took a test, and I went to work for the city of New York, and I became Deputy Commissioner of Architecture, Engineering, Construction for the Housing Authority. I did that. After that, I'm running out after that. But I want to do something bigger. I wanted to do humanitarian work. And I made 11 trips to Africa, 8 in Kenya alone, to help the people that are in worse conditions than me, feed them, try to get them to school, so on and so forth. I made 8 trips to Haiti. I made 11 trips to Nicaragua. 17 trips to Nicaragua, 17. So, and I figured with all my things that I've done to make my life a little better, and is the one that the good that I did for people that could not help themselves. I built a little orphanages, little hospitals, little houses, a house, sheet metal, that's all it is, 16 by 16 with 2 families in it. No water, nothing. So that is more or less what, structured me as the individual that I am. And I'm proud of that. I could go on and on and on, but suffice to say, I'm enjoying the American dream. I have a beautiful family, 4 kids, 4 different states. So and I still do a lot of work. I got a call from this priest in Haiti. He says, "Tony, Gio Balanic," he was from Croatia. He said, Tony, don't go back there. They're killing people. Don't go. I promise him I'm not going. And so now I'm going to rest a little bit until I come up with some other strange ideas and pursue it. Thank you very much.
I would just like to tell everyone that Supervisor DeSena has arrived, Councilwoman Veronica Lurvy, and Councilman Dennis Walsh has arrived. So let's give them a round of applause.
One of the things that Tony Durso did not point out to you, on Jericho Turnpike and New Hyde Park Road, there used to be the Christ Hall, and that's come down now, but in front of it is a very famous monument, right? I don't know how many of you have missed it. I don't see how you could miss it, but that is the monument dedicated to Christopher Columbus, Giovanni de Verrazzano, whose 500th anniversary will be next year when he came into Hudson Harbor, as well as to Giovanni Caboto and Amerigo Vespucci, for which America is named. That monument with that globe on it was the creation and proposal done by Anthony Durso. But in my role as president and chairman of the Italian Heritage and Culture Committee, this is a poster for your office that we present to all the leaders. So tonight, if we were in the Bronx, Vanessa, the borough president, would be getting this, and very soon the other borough presidents. So we've usually done this for Richard Nicolello at the legislature, and when the county executive did have an event, we would present it to him or her. But this year, I'm sorry to say, we're not having an event in Nassau County, but we're having one right here in North Hempstead. So with all the love and affection from the board.
Thank you so much.
The Honorable Jennifer DeSena.
Thank you so much. This is such a wonderful gathering, and I'm really sorry that I was late. We had another town event tonight and also a unity rally for Israel, and so I was just a little late getting here. It's so wonderful to have the Merino Lodge and the Cellini Lodge members together, along with all the rest of us from the town. I want to give a special shout out to my honoree, Rich Nicolello. I mean, you all know him. He's represented us in the Nassau County Legislature for 28 years. So he will be he'll be a free man at the end of this year, but he's done so much for Nassau County, and always with great respect and professionalism. He's been a wonderful leader and a great mentor for me and a great friend. And he said that he did not want another proclamation because he has so many, has a whole house full. So I also I'm excited to give you a little gift card to Uncle Bacala's so that you can have time with your wife and have a nice dinner. So anyway, thank you. I just want to thank all of our staff for putting this together. Everything looks great, and I'm very excited to be here and celebrating Italian Heritage Month with you. Thank you.
Okay. Right now, we've got some performers, Claudio Mattioli and Massimiliano Barbolini, who are performing with us tonight. They're filled with tradition, irony, passion, and fun, genius, and they say recklessness. So it's going to be a very interesting performance, and we're all looking forward to hearing them now. Let's give a warm welcome to Claudio and Massimiliano.
Che la mia felicità vive solo di realtà vicino a me. Voglio vivere così, col sole in fronte, e felice canto beatamente. Voglio vivere con l'aria del monte, perché questo è il ruscello impertinente menestrello dell'amor. La più ricca delle fiate tiene allegro sempre il cuore, sai perché? Voglio vivere così, col sole in fronte, e felice